What happens when you combine Aristotle's dilemma with the early teachings of it 1900s playwright W.T. Rice?
Yes, he wasn't a playwright, he was a script doctor and a playwriting teacher. It was really a process of synthesizing them together. My playwriting teacher taught me the basics of Aristotle, dilemma, crisis, decision and action, resolution, and then gave me the Price book and his students' book to read. So essentially, one doesn't work without the other from one point of view. I've taught this for a long time, and I've thought a lot about how to teach it. And I've tried different things where I only taught sequence, proposition, plot. But if you're doing sequence, proposition, plot to a script that doesn't have a good, strong dilemma, then the underlying material is weak dramatically. So you're merely providing a tight structure to something that's underlying story is weak dramatically. It's kind of like you got to have good steel to make a good sword. So even if you know how to pound a sword into shape and the steel is poor, then it still doesn't work. So I kept thinking, well, I can just teach small workshops in different tools, but one is really indispensable to the other. And, that's true of character development, that your characters have to be deep and complex and flawed and unpredictable and familiar. And I get a lot of that from the Enneagram, which is a personality profiling system. So that in terms of synthesizing the things that Aristotle noticed tend to be common to those dramas that grip an audience, dilemma, crisis, decision and action, and resolution, with the proposition and sequence, proposition, plot, they are all very much part of the same process, that it's kind of like digging into the ground and finding metal ore and smelting that ore and refining it and making that into a quality metal that you can then build with. So that dilemma, it's all part of dramatizing your story. You got to have a good story idea to begin with, and you tend to want to have your protagonist trapped in a good, strong dilemma. And that dilemma dramatizes the story. It helps make the story more dramatically effective as you build it. So you're constantly paying attention to storytelling and the craft of the dramatist. So often each part of the story that you add to or amplify, you're also paying attention to helping it work dramatically by amplifying the power of the dilemma, making a better crisis, making a more compelling decision and action, a more satisfying resolution to the dilemma, a deeper, more complex character. So that all of it goes into the recipe. And you've got to have quality ingredients and good cooking skills, because poor ingredients, a great chef can have a hard time with really poor ingredients. And the best ingredients can be lost on someone who can't cook. So that's essentially the nature of synthesizing Aristotle and Price together, among many other things. But it also goes back to like what I was talking about of learning how to juggle on a unicycle on a tightrope. There's different individual skills and, you know, the tools and the underlying principles that make those tools work. And you gradually learn one principle at a time and one tool at a time, and then synthesize them together into a set of professional skills, you know, much like a doctor gets in training where there's a whole lot of training that goes into their overall professional capacity. And they often no longer see the seams between the individual parts because they've really been synthesized into one fluid professional capacity.